Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm just going to be running through really quickly how I edit some of my photos on Lightroom 5. So I've got um, a couple photos here. These all have filters over them, except this one. So I'm just going to run through how I edit these photos. And yeah. So first of all, I've got a whole lot of presets down the side from Visco Film, which I use quite often. I do have some presets of my own, but today I'm just going to be using this one that I made a few weeks ago. So let's just check out how that looks. So it's quite contrasty. That the darks are quite dark, so we want to change that up a bit. We want to make it a bit not too dark. So let's bring exposure up a bit. I think maybe one more, or let's bring it. I think one more. I think that's perfect. Then let's just play around with the contrast a bit, see how that looks. I think that looks quite cool personally. Play around with the highlights, so you can see in the background there it sort of plays with this sort of area and that sort of area right there. So if we bring it right down, there's not many highlights there. We bring it right up, then we've got that. So I want to go for something sort of. I wanted to sort of highlight, the guy and I think his girlfriend, I assume, um, crossing the road instead of it just being like really dark like that, because they are the subject. So it'd be cool to sort of looks like a bit of a spotlight, like over here and over there. So I think let's bring it to about 30. I think that looks quite rad. Um, excuse me. Play around with the shadows a bit. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that. Let's take that up to about 10. See how that looks. That looks pretty cool. Check out the whites. So you can see obviously the white's pretty self-explanatory. All the whites in the photo will sort of pop, or you can darken them all the way. So I think going in the sort of fashion where we want to highlight the subject here with when I was talking about the highlights earlier, I think let's put it at 10. Um, and then the blacks, let's I think bring that down just slightly, maybe to about 5. It's a subtle difference, but I think it just adds to it. Let's check out the clarity here. I think bring the clarity down 1 to -5. Saturation, I think we're going to keep it at -5 and just bring the vibrance down. And here, so the tone curve, this is where you get get your tones to look really rich and stuff. So you sort of want to, you can play around with this over here, or you can just play around with the highlights, the lights, the darks, and the shadows, and you can see it changes the curve quite a bit. So let's go ahead and take that back to 0. I typically just play around with the lights and darks here. I don't spend too much time on the highlights and the shadows within this window. But I mean, you can do whatever you like. So I do want to bring the darks down a bit. I know I said it looked a bit dark earlier, but I think it's looking pretty cool. And we'll get rid of that grain. It's part of the preset, so we'll get rid of the grain um, in a moment. So see what the lights do. No, that looks horrible. See what it looks like at around -10. So no, I think I kind of prefer it. Maybe 1 up. I think that looks quite good. And then here, this window right here, HSL, color, black and white. You can play with hue, so the various colors. So we've sort of got orange in the background over here in the buildings, and up here, over here, and sort of over there. So if you play around with the orange, if you drag it all the way to the left, it'll go red, and you can see that the guy's face, his hands, and his shoes have sort of gone red. And you obviously don't want that. And obviously, if you take it all the way up, then it's going to go to yellow. So just trying to show you what that does. I think here I'm not really too fussed about this. You can sort of change colors of things. Usually if there's like grass or something, or trees like you have here and here, you can play around with the yellow tab and sort of make the trees or the grass greener, or you can make it sort of yellowy, I guess. So I think we're just going to leave that where it was. And as I said, I'm not too um, fussed about this now. I often use it on my other photos, but I'm not too, as I said, I'm not too fussed right now using that. And then you're just going to sharpen it up a bit. So as I said, this is a preset, so a lot of the stuff is already what I like in my images. It's just sort of playing around with it, and as well as just, not every edit fits, the same images. So you just gotta you can't just throw a preset on and post it to Instagram or post it to Facebook. You got to work on it further until you're really satisfied with that. So this edit isn't usually my sort of style. However, I do actually really like it. I was sort of going to go into this video just throwing on a random preset onto any image and hoping for the best, but I think this has come out quite nicely. I just want to see something. If we crop it, say like maybe like that, I just want to see what it looks like. I think even that looks quite cool. Sort of like not quite, but I was going to mention the Beatles' famous album photo back in the day, but yeah, I think that looks quite cool. So just gonna undo that. Sorry, I don't know why my computer is acting weird. There we go, that's better. So yeah, I quite like that. I think that crop is quite nice, but we'll just have to see. So noise reduction, typically if you're shooting, if you're shooting high ISOs, things like that, noise reduction really helps with that sort of thing. But I mean, this was broad daylight, so there wasn't a hell of a lot of noise. So you're just going to constrain the crop here. The grain at 30, I think it's too grainy. As I said, different edits, different presets, different edits suit different images. So I'm just going to bring the grain down to about 15. Looks a bit cleaner. So that this is what it'll look like without any grain. Whereas we were at 30. You can sort of see the difference there. If you sort of look over here, and we bring it up to 30, 35, you can see the grain comes back here. So I think we're going to keep that at about 15. The grain's minimal, but it's still there. And yeah, then it's just basically, exporting it. And there we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was very quick. And yeah, this is just like a quick insight into how I edit some of my photos. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you want to know anything, drop a comment. Follow me on Instagram. I've got a Facebook page too if you guys want to check that out. And yeah, I hope you have a good one.